another game to show you as well. We have, of course, normally 2 games going on at the same time, so just going to jump into the action here with the backup table.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure it's Israel Sosa playing against someone else. I'm very sorry that I don't have this in mind right now. Should be Yveltal Garbodor mirror match. I'm not entirely sure what the scanning is, but I'm sure we'll find out together in a bit.
Yes, we will. So what do you think is likely going to make up the top 8 then? Because I mean, obviously we've seen that a lot of players have already played out their matches, so we're drawing towards the end of this round 5.
Yeah, we have a lot of Yveltal Garbodor, and we have Alex Hill with a Substriker deck. So it might become that the US just takes this tournament with his secret deck. But here we see the backup table. We have Israel Sosa on the left side. Again, I'm very sorry that I forgot the name of the opponent. Then they're both playing Yveltal Garbodor. You have 6 prize cards on the left, 4 on the right, but let's see, maybe there's something interesting we can talk about there.
Yeah, so with these 2 players, I'm not sure if either of their match records, even if either of them win, I'm not sure if either of them can make top 8 at this point, but they're still playing for, there's a huge amount on the line still, because there's a win for either of them would mean that you'd put them in contention for top 16, which still gives you a lot of championship points, of course, which gives you that ever important invite for Worlds.
Yeah, also it's just like being top 16 or being in the top 32. It's very important for these players, as it looks like right now there are only 3 prize cards for the right player and the left player. It doesn't really look great here, but I'm very sorry, we just jumped in. I don't know the exact game state.
Yeah, so you see that it's actually currently 1-0 to the player on the right. An end's been played at this point, and this big Yveltal Garbodor mirror match. We saw so many of these mirror matches yesterday, due to the amount of the big presence of this deck within the metagame of the tournament.
Yeah, so here we see them. They play very fast. I don't know exactly what's going on. So N for 3. There is a Fright Night Yveltal active, which just took out another Fright Night Yveltal on Israel's side. There are enough energies attached to the active Yveltal to take a 1-hit knockout here. And then there are no energies left on the board on the right side here. But he has a Float Stone, so I think that's fine. And also Professor Sycamore he got from the N. So there is still some time to go back into the game. And I mean, here we have another Yveltal Garbodor mirror. As we just get the names, and we have Xavier Gamboa against Israel Sosa. It's 1 for Xavier, and also this game is looking very good for him. As long as he's able to get the knockout on Israel's Yveltal EX with this Max Elixir, which he unfortunately didn't hit, he can just turn around the game. There are 3 energies attached to the Yveltal on the opponent's side, 1 on his Yveltal already. If he's able to get a double colorless energy card, that would be 6 in total, so 140 damage, going up to 200. So for double colorless Fighting Fury Bell, it would be enough damage if I'm not, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and at the same time as well, we see that Javier does. It seems like he has another Shaman in deck, so what he might do is go really super aggressive and just he has the remainder of his hand is Ultra Ball and another 2 cards. So yeah, he's gonna that first Ultra Ball is actually gonna get nothing off of it, and then he's playing a second Ultra Ball, discarding the rest of his hand. He's going to get a Shaman and also let him draw the full complement of 6 off of the setup ability, just give him that maximum chance of hitting that Max Elixir, because if he gets this knockout here, he's in a very good contention to just win.
Yeah, he also only has 3 bench Pokemon because of the Perilous City, so he couldn't take anything with his other Ultra Ball. Here we see 2 Versus Seeker, another Perilous City, and a lot of energy. You can see in his face, this is not exactly what he wanted, so yeah, he puts another he just retreats into the other Yveltal, which has a Float Stone. Because of the Float Stone, he can just take 1 hit, then retreat into something else. So yeah, this is just like a defense play. But Israel knows this. He just uses Wise Cyclone, should be 100 damage and moving 1 energy back. This means less energies for Xavier to take the knockout, and I will just tell them that there should be 100 damage.
Yes, so we see there that it looks like the judges have already noticed. So yeah, there was a Fighting Fury Belt, so that's been corrected straight away. So it's good that they've been noticed. The judges are very much on point.
Yeah, so now actually, if he doesn't attach any additionally energy cards, because of the floats, then he can't attach a Fighting Fury Belt. So only 70 HP left is kind of locked. And when you use Evil Ball without your opponent having any energy cards, it's 60 damage at least. And when with the Fighting Fury Belt, it goes up to 70. So the plus 10 actually matter in this situation when Israel just wants to go for an easy knockout on something. He can just knock out with Evil Ball. It doesn't make a difference for Fright Knight because no player has Garbodor, so Fright Knight only deals, Pitch Black Spear only deals 60 damage no matter what. And here we see Xavier retreating, but again, not really having a lot of energies. We know he has energy cards in his hand, but at least one a double colors energy card. But if he had attached it, it wouldn't have been enough for the knockout, but then he would have more energies attached to himself, so Evil Ball would deal more damage. And these are the kind of things that you need to keep in mind. And also now we saw that the Wise Cyclone on Israel's side really paid out, because otherwise Xavier would have been able to just take the knockout here.
Yeah, as long as he would have needed the double colorless as well, because right now it's on 170 damage, and he would have needed to do an extra 20 or an extra 40 to actually get a knockout because of the Fighting Fury belt.
Yeah, but he, yeah, it doesn't really matter that much. Israel now has to think about what's going on, what is he doing. We see a Team Flareground in his discard pile. So this is kind of like one of the mirror cards you can play. We already saw stuff like Center Lady, and we also had yesterday on stream Azul Garcia, if I don't say this wrong, who played also Team Flareground, and also Center Lady in his deck to have better chances in the mirror match.
So looks like they're having a little bit of a think. Maybe Israel's thinking about actually just playing the Flareground at this point. I mean, if it's at the top of his discard pile, it's kind of, normally it's a bit of a tell towards what you might be thinking about, and yeah, that is what's going to happen. So Flareground goes and an energy attachment, and we'll probably see another Evil Ball here.
Yeah, Evil Ball here now deals 10 more damage than Wise Cyclone. Wise Cyclone would secure your energy, but at this point it doesn't matter that you have less energy for like less damage, because you only have 40 HP left anyways. But dealing the extra damage now might become important later on, especially because when Israel just attach a double colors energy to his benched Evil Tal with the Fright Knight ability, he shuts off Xavier's Fighting Fury Belt.
Yeah.
And then he can just deal 60 damage, that's 170 damage, taking the knockout on the active Evil Tal. And because it has, because of the Flareground, it has less energy attached to it. I'm not really sure if it makes a big difference. He can still, if he has the double colors, he can still use Wise Cyclone and then attach it to the bench, which would be the same as just attaching it to the bench in the first play and then use Evil Ball. But I'm very interested in what Xavier's going for. I'm not entirely sure how much time there is left. If you remember, there were about 15 minutes on the other game, but we didn't start the game simultaneously, so we would also need to find this out.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a precarious position for Javier here, considering that one Pitch Black Spear is going to mean, as you very rightly said, because of the Fighting Fury Belt. And yeah, he recognizes this, and he just, it's a bit of a miscommunication. No, yeah, he's going for that. So, because he needs to deal with this threat straight away. Or, there might have been a miscommunication over what supporter was used. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's happened there.
I'm very sorry I didn't watch everything, but it seems like everyone agrees on what's going on.
Oh, okay, so he's brought the Fright Knight into the active. That means that the Fighting Fury Belt on the EX on the bench is no longer active, therefore it's a knockout.
Yeah, this is true. This is a very smart play, actually. Now he can take just 2 prize cards. He's down to 1 prize. And yeah, he's just going for the Wise Cyclone, dealing 90 damage now because he deals less damage. Yeah, Fright Knight Evil Tal might actually become a problem for yourself when your opponent just plays Lysander on it to take the knockout. But now Israel has his Pitch Black Spear going on, taking off the knockout active, and additionally with the Enhanced Hammer now forcing Xavier to play stuff like Max Elixir to just be able to attack in the first play. And this is a big moment where Enhanced Hammer really shines in the mirror match.
Yeah, that Enhanced Hammer was absolutely huge. Had it not been for that Enhanced Hammer, Javier would have the win right here and now as it stands. He has an Enhanced Hammer back, so that could be good for putting Israel back in turn and making sure that he can't just do another Pitch Black Spear. But yeah, I mean, Javier needs to see. I'm not sure if he's played all of his Max Elixirs yet. If he hasn't, then obviously if he sees it in another energy, he can just knock out this Yveltal in the active and win. But he's already been through a lot, and we've not seen all the resources that have been discarded from the beginning of the game. So
yeah, as long as Xavier has a double colors energy card, he could like double Sky Return and then use setup again. As it is right now, he cannot retreat because even though he has a float stone, it's turned off. But if he has a double colorless, he can then Sky Return, put the other Shaman active, then his bench Yveltal will get knocked out. But then with a secondary Sky Return, he would be able to take the knockout But here we see him just playing Professor Sycamore. He has a lot of max elixirs left in this game, so it's really good for Xavier. Because otherwise, I just wanted to say that because he can't retreat, Israel might just attack with Pitch Black Spear twice, given that he gets a double colors energy card and then win the game anyways. So it seemed kind of odd that he attached the energy card to his benched Yveltal, but considering that he still has a lot of max elixir in his deck, this might have turned out to be the better play. However, he did not hit any of his max elixirs, so again, as long as Israel has a double colors energy card, this might become a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Israel isn't just playing it straight away probably tells you that he doesn't have it, because, I mean, if you do at this point, then you pretty much just, there's no reason to not just use Pitch Black Spear right now, because it's pretty much the way you win. But he's just being very careful, considering what Javier has discarded, to maybe try and, maybe you might be counting how much energy he has left to just see what are the odds of Javier just having a double colorless, and I see he's opting to play an escape rope. Okay. So now Javier has a decision here, and he's decided to put the damaged Yveltal EX in the active, probably because it's so close to being knocked out regardless, but it's, I don't know, it's giving him a bit of an easy prize. He did have the double colors energy in hand, so it's interesting they decided not to Pitch Black Spear in that case.
Yeah, I don't have the lists right now, and they already should know, because this is the last round of the last Swiss round of the tournament. They should already know a bit about the others' lists. Of course, if Israel is just going for Pitch Black Spear, Xavier could play stuff like an Olympia and it just needs an energy card, or Sky Returning again, and putting the other Shaman active. So yeah, with this, Israel just applies a lot of pressure. Now he can use either Evil Ball or Wise Cyclone.
Yeah, with this, he's less at risk of course, because Javier only has one prize left. That's a big difference. If Javier had two prizes left, then obviously Israel every day of the week just does Pitch Black Spear. But given that it is so damaged, and Javier could just take the last knockout on this Fright Night Yveltal to knock it out and win, then it makes the most sense to actually do this in hindsight.
Yeah, now Israel goes for the Evil Ball, so having more energies attached to his Yveltal, Wise Cyclone would have not been that great, I think, personally, because now Israel only needs to take one prize card. Xavier also only needs one prize card. Interestingly enough, both their last prize card is Gamboa-Pokémon. So
yeah, right.
That's kind of weird, but Xavier has a double colors energy card, so he can either use Sky Return or answer with an Evil Ball.
I think he has to at this point just Sky Return and hope that there's no energy, because that way he does 30 and then he can just attach double colors to the Yveltal and win. So we see the Versus Seeker and
Team Flagrant.
Oh dear,
this hurts a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
He also had Delinquent, so like both options, but of course Team Flagrant right now is even better because there are no max elixirs, and I think Israel should have this game here in his pocket, because well, Even Ball deals 80 and then Wise Cyclone deals 90 for exactly enough damage, but Xavier gets a Versus Seeker from top of his deck, so there might be something in his sleeve. Up his sleeve.
Yeah, he could. I'm not sure if he has a means of. The problem is if he could retreat the Yveltal EX in the active and then maybe hit with Sky Returns into something. Was that a Float Stone in his hand? It's a very awkward position for him to be in. I don't see what he could do, especially obviously not being able to look at the list right now.
I mean, he can if he has a Float Stone, or he might just go for a Float Stone. We know because of the Sky Return he has Shaman in his hand. He can Lysander, the Fright Night Yveltal, then use Sky Return. And because it's a Fright Night Yveltal, when the opponent doesn't get another energy card, you just win the game right there. If he plays Lysander on either of the other, like it doesn't make sense to get the Shaman, but the other Yveltal cannot be retreated by just another basic energy. Here we see Xavier just using the setup ability. He got a Fright Night Yveltal himself. This is kind of awkward position.
Yeah.
I think I personally would retreat before I play Lysander on the Yveltal.
Yeah, we wouldn't say that Takuya Yoneda made that mistake yesterday. Wouldn't want to see that again. But yeah, I agree. I think the best play at this point is retreat to the Shaman, Lysander, the Fright Knight, Yveltal, Sky Return, and pray.
Well, it's very brave to say that this is the best play right now, because every Yveltal player has their own playstyle and also their own little tricks that they can do. I personally do not say for myself that I'm an experienced Yveltal player, so I'm not entirely sure what would be the best position here, but if I would have to decide it right now, I would retreat and then play Lysander, Yveltal, Fright Night, hope my opponent doesn't have enough energies to retreat, and then just Sky Return twice.
Yeah, it's...
and even if your opponent has a retreat, all he can do, he also needs still a Lysander because he cannot take the knockout on the Shaman. right now. So when he Sky returns, then puts the Shaman active, but he goes for an N, this attaching energy card to his Shaman EX, playing N, and let's see what his opponent is doing next turn.
Yeah, it's not really. It goes down to the wire, absolutely. Both players being enter 1, of course. He's going to see a Fighting Fury belt off of that. Can't really put that too much use now. Well, he can do an extra 40. With
40 additional damage is actually kind of nice, but...
We'll put the Veltex on 70, and yeah, he promotes the other Shaman. What does Israel have?
Just imagine if Israel has another Versus Seeker and just plays Delinquent, which is in his discard pile, I already saw that. Yeah, we see another N, both N for 1, just like after each other. Xavier's face is just like, no, my Shaman is in my deck now. He can still draw it back, then you set up, draw more cards. But Israel now applying more pressure with having so many energy cards in play. He kind of really got what he wanted here.
Yeah, if he draws a Fighting Fury belt, of course, here he just wins. But I'm not sure if this is likely or not, or even possible. But yeah, instead just going for the White Cyclone. He's going to put the double colors on the bench, Oblivion Wing of Veltal. And what does Javier draw? It's a Fighting Fury belt. And from the way he's reacting, I'm assuming that he doesn't have anything else useful in his hand.
Yeah, what I really like about Israel's last turn is that he attached the energy to the benched Oblivion Wing Evital, just like preparing for the opponent using Life Center and then stall. But Xavier only gets a double colorless energy from top of his deck, so no way for him to turn this around, and we're going into a 1-1.
that was absolutely crazy towards the end there. It seemed like both players were just on the precipice, but just not being able to do quite enough. But in the end, Javier's play just not being able to sustain any further.
Yes, very tense. It's a shame we didn't have the whole game on camera, but now we will see the last game, and these players are deciding under each other if they're part of the best 16 players or part of the best 32 players.
Yeah, and again, there's so much that comes when it comes to this mirror matchup. It's one of the, we've discussed this a couple of times before, but it's one of the, I'd say, the most skilled mirror matchups we've had in a long time, because, as you said, there's so many different little plays that can sometimes vary from player to player, what they think is the best avenue to take, and there's lots of these small decisions about where you attach energy, what attack you use. There's a lot of, it's really cool matchups actually you see being played out.
Yeah, I really like the mirror match. I think it's a cool game to talk about. There are a lot of options to do your deck list that fit the mirror match, and there are a lot of plays that you can make. Especially, Israel's list seems to be very aggressive in the mirror match. He plays stuff like Delinquent and Team Flaregrant and Enhanced Hammer, so a lot of stuff that kind of deny your opponent's energies. He also has a Frightened Evital for just reading 60-60. I think almost every of the Evitals has this included, beside one person from Europe who actually made it into the top 8 with only 4 Evital EX, and that's all of the Evitals in the stack. Setting up, we can see the prize cards here already. There are 4 Darkness Energies in Xavier's prize cards. This is amazing, because now Max Elixir gets so much less likely to hit in general. Yeah, Israel's prize cards just look very normal. He has like a Flareground, a Life Center, double colorless.
Yeah, we're going to see if we get the prize camera up for you guys just to show you how it looks. The prize cards on Javier's side look very dark, I can say that much. It's, as you can see there, Javier just able to get the Ultra Ball, and yeah, they can see it on the prizes on the camera now. 4 Dark Energy.
Amazing. This is amazing. Well, maybe he's still able to get his Max Elixir's hits. Of course, it's just less likely and not impossible. Here we see the first one. Nope. Not today.
2 colorless, but no Dark Energies available for him there.
Yeah, so we also just got the list. One thing that I already saw on the prize cards from Israel last turn is 1 Steven, which searches your deck for a supporter card and a basic energy, in this case a Darkness Energy card. So you can search your deck for stuff like Pokemon Center Lady, Delinquent, Team Flareground, a very interesting card. I don't think there are a lot of people who actually would play it in their deck, but he is in the top 32 right now, so it actually should have showed a lot of shine here. Yeah,
and equally on Javier's list, there's a range of different sort of one-off supporters. We see that sometimes the variance in these different Yveltal list comes down to one of tech supporter choices. In Javier's case, he's opted for Pokemon Center Lady, which we see is very common. Delinquents, which you can apply so much pressure and if make your opponent forced into an awkward decision, and also Pokemon Ranger, which makes sense against given the increasing presence of counter decks like the Jolteon on the X deck. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so Xavier's first turn is kind of decent. He has the Frightened Yveltal active, which is always great to have. Especially now Israel cannot retreat with his Floatstone he just attached. Here he also plays 2 escape ropes, Israel plays 2 escape ropes. So he still has options to go around it, but I can actually see Xavier just, next turn using Pitch Black Spear, getting some damage off. But then it's up to Israel's Pokemon Center Lady to get the math right again.
That's actually a very interesting thing to note. Javier's list actually has not many switching options at all. In fact, it doesn't play any escape rope, but only plays Floatstone, so potentially vulnerable to being Pitch Black Speared himself.
Yeah, this is true. The only way to get around Fright Night here is to play Lysander or something else, and then use Floatstone yourself. So, I don't know if Israel realizes this. It's always very hard because you have to take a lot of assumptions about decks. You can know a lot of information by either like watching games or playing against the same opponent multiple times. But let's see how this is turning out to be. Xavier just playing Verse Seeker for Lysander onto the Yveltal, which has 2 retreat cost, and now if Israel wants to attack, he needs to play, of course, Escape Rope is an option, but then Xavier can just put the Pokemon that they want to have, Xavier can just put the Pokemon that he wants to have active, and then let this one get damage, retreat again. So I actually like this game, this play here a lot.
Yeah, we see that Israel does bench his own Fright Night Yveltal, so you can maybe... Okay, he won't be able to do it this turn, of course, because he's had to first seek for the end, but in a later turn he could Lysander something that has a Floatstone on it and just, keep Pitch Black Spearing and force Javier to either retreat manually or, like I said, Lysander something to be able to play around it.
Yes, this is true, but now here we see Your Attention Energy active. So he would need a lot of cards at once to attack, and even if he gets Elixir and Escape Rope, he won't deal a lot of damage, and if he deals damage, he will probably deal damage to the Yveltal with Floatstone on Xavier's side, which then can just take the damage, retreat again. And now here he actually plays the Escape Rope, so it will be interesting to see what Xavier puts active. He doesn't choose the one with the Floatstone, probably because he's afraid that Israel just puts his Frightened Yveltal active, which he just did. And now Xavier can just use Sky Return to get out of this situation. But of course, it will get Israel some time.
Yeah, we see Israel fetching another Ultra Ball, another Shaman with an Ultra Ball. We often see that in the mirror matchup, it seems quite often that both players will just discard their Garbodor lines because they don't really feel like it's worth it. But it depends, because sometimes if you want to be able to make it so that you can, say, use Pitch Black Spear while simultaneously using a tool, then Garbodor can actually be quite good. So even in the mirror matchup, you think, oh, there's no point in playing it, but sometimes it can actually be relevant.
Yeah, especially for Xavier, like you already said, he doesn't have any switching cards. It might turn off just Fright Night, so he can use his Floatstones. As it is right now, there's a Perilous City with the blue side face to Xavier, so now his troubles will probably not hit the bench, because he really needs to be aware of the value of his bench space. These people also usually don't play more any other stadium like Perilous City, so Xavier's only way to get rid of the stadium is Delinquent, which is a supporter again, so it's very unlikely that either of these players is going to set up their Garbodor. It
forces Javier basically just to plan ahead a lot in terms of what he can do when, because, yeah, all his outs to the things that make playing annoying, as it were, are supporter routes. It's like Lysander for the Fright Nights, or, like you mentioned just there, lost the word.
Delinquent?
Yeah, the Delinquent there, thank you. The Delinquent for the stadium. It's just, he has to be very careful about it. Speaking of Delinquent, there it is right now.
Yeah, so now he can just retreat his Shaman, only 1 retreat cost, and using his Pitch Black Spear to deal even more damage on the benched Yveltal.
And we see there that another Ultra Ball coming down from Israel. He's probably going to fetch himself another Yveltal EX. I mean, you just want to have enough backup attackers to be able to see through a mirror match all the way, and a Dark Energy going onto the active, followed by what looks to be another N.
Yeah, but this is not looking good. He had to attach another energy from his hand to the active Yveltal, and if Xavier just attacks again for 60 on the bench Yveltal, it will get knocked out because of Fright Night. And this is also one of the reasons why it might be valuable to have your Gauder in play, but of course you need to grab your auto balls, you lose 1 bench space, so Gauder often seems just like it's not really worth it, as Israel just passes his turn, so Xavier can get more damage onto the active Frightened Evital from Israel. Also, if he wants to, he can take a knockout on the benched Evital with a Fighting Fury Belt, or just spread more damage so he's not vulnerable to N, and then being able to pitch Black Spear for more prize cards later in the game.
Yeah, and we see they're playing a train as well, and he sees a Delinquent off of that. So I'm not sure how many cards Israel has in his hand, but if it's a small number, the Havoc can maybe Delinquent him to 0?
Well, I don't like to assume anything here,
No.
and also since he didn't take the Delinquent, it doesn't look like Israel's hand is very small. If it had been small, I think Delinquent would have been the perfect choice, because Xavier also has Shaman that he just discarded in his hand, so he could have discarded the Stadium, but still drawing cards with his setup ability.
Yeah.
He also got an Enhanced Hammer, so preparing for the next turns if Israel is able to grab a double Colorless Energy card to attack with his Pitch Black Spear, or after an Escape Rope, also attacking with maybe the Evital EX. But he goes for the Pitch Black Spear now. But still, this is a very problematic situation, because Xavier can just attack again with his Pitch Black Spear, dealing letting the Evital on the bench, the Evital EX on the bench, going out to 120 damage, and then knocking out the active Evital.
Yeah, definitely. And we see there that's equally, whilst he's doing these Pitch Black Spears, he's already charging up Evital EXs on the bench. So Javier just has a lot of options at this point to lead it. This Pitch Black Spear from the Friday Night Evital on the active, just putting in so much work on for not really that much investments, and really Israel is just being a little bit flooded right now.
Yeah, and this is why the Evital with Fright Night is just so good. The opponent can't use their Float Stones, which are so important. They also can't use their Fighting Fury Belts. And now Xavier's just dominating here. He does have a Delinquent again. He also got an Enhanced Hammer and a Pokemon Center Lady. With this Center Lady, he could even get rid of the damage on his active Evital if he really decides to do this. If he does not, I don't really think it makes a lot of sense, because if Israel has a double Colorless Energy card, he can take the knockout anyways. And so it doesn't really seem like the active Evital will be a target of Center Lady, but the bench one is really nice, as we just see him doing, getting rid of the damage on the bench one. Now he takes out the Frightened Evital and just putting damage on the other Evital from Israel to prepare a bit. And Israel is going not for the one with the Float Stone, but for the Evital, which has no tool attached to it at all, to having the option to go for Fighting Fury Belt later. And here we see him, he didn't have the double Colorless Energy card, so it might have even paid off for Xavier to play Center Lady on the active Pokemon, but of course, there's
no way for him to notice.
Yeah, of course. And also, it's just taking a risk, an unnecessary risk as well, because Xavier is still in the leading position in this game. I think.
Yeah, it was also really clever that Javier realized that it makes more sense to do Pitch Black Spear onto the Evital rather than the Shaman. I think a lot of players in the same situation think, oh, 2 Pitch Black Spears onto a Shaman, I can just hit that twice and take prizes. But he realizes that by putting the damage onto the Evital EXs instead, it applies a lot more pressure, because those are actually the attackers. And so Israel's thinking, oh, both of my attackers are within very easy KO range of his own Evital EX.
Yeah, so here we see Delinquent. Now Xavier finally gets some more bench space. Israel, it seems like he has more than 3 hand cards, so he needs to take a decision here. Discarding an Escape Rope, which might become a problem later on. But I also really like just having a Delinquent played, even though you have other options and your opponent has more than 3 hand cards. Just because when there is when your opponent has 4 hand cards and there are 2 important cards in his hand, Delinquent is still again a very good card in general.
Yeah, although we do see there double colors coming onto the Israel's active Evital EX. I believe this might be enough for a knockout now. We see that as again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, not quite enough yet actually.
Yeah, so, well, Xavier, everything is running in Xavier's favor here. And actually he can also just Y-Cyclone for the knockout next turn, as long as Israel does not have... Well, even if he has a Fighting Fury Belt, because with Xavier's Fighting Fury Belt, Y-Cyclone just deals 100 damage, and then it's up to 210. It does not look that good. Yeah, but now also he doesn't even need to Y-Cyclone, he can just Evil Bore, that will be the same outcome, because there is no double colors attached.
Yeah, and right now, All Javier has to really do is, charge up the Yveltal X on the bench, playing an N as well just to maybe limit Israel a little bit, although Israel still has 5 prize cards left, so he'll still be drawing quite a lot.
Yeah, so Xavier here is only 1.5 minutes left as well, but yeah, it's a good game for him. Israel had a lot of problems. He had to attach a lot of energies to his active Pokemon just like attaching one. I think he didn't even play any Max Elixirs yet, am I right?
No, I think you are right, and yeah, right now he'll be able to take a knockout with Evil Ball, take 2 more Dark Energy out of his prizes, and now Israel really just needs an end. He needs to just make sure that Javier is unable to knock out his anything, pretty much.
Yeah. Also, because of the Fighting Fury Belt, Israel is not able to use, like, for example, a Scary Turn knockout, which otherwise would have been enough to deal just 170 damage. So Israel needs any way to get rid of this Yveltal here, because there is still another Yveltal on Xavier's bench. So N won't really help him that much as long as he doesn't have a Pokemon to knock out, and because there is a Floatstone on his bench Yveltal, it will most likely get knocked out anyways next turn by Xavier's Evil Ball, I think.
Yeah, just too much. And again, this is Javier's very clever sort of focusing on the Yveltals rather than the Shaman strategy with the Pitch Black Spears really paying off, because, as I said, now it applies much more pressure, and Israel's thinking, I can't afford to attack with this, because if I do, I take prizes, but then I lose.
Yes. So here we see a Fighting Fury Belt to Shamaniacs. Let's see.
We are now in overtime as well. The time has just been called, so we'll be going into +3 turns, I imagine, now.
Yeah, I think the only thing they can do now here is either tie or Xavier wins.
And we see, okay, Israel did a Pokemon Center Lady, although did he not play? No, he didn't play an N because Javier has more than 1 card in his hand, so that's not possible. But the Center Lady would be really, really good there, because that means that it's a lot less likely that Javier is able to knock out with his own Yveltal DX. And you see that he's shaking his head a little bit because now he knows that Israel might have just squeaked a tie out of this one.
Yeah, does Xavier's bench Yveltal has a Floatstone as well? Because then it's even a bit risky to attach another energy there. Only for, let's see, 2 energy cards. There are 5 in total, so that's 120 damage right now for Israel. If he has another double colors energy card, that's 160, so I don't really think Israel is able to take the knockout here.
No.
But and when he has double colors and a Lysander, for example, he can just knock out the Shaman, or just a double colors and an Escape Rope might be enough. I know there is 1 Escape Rope in his discard pile from the Delinquent. Did he play an Escape Rope this game?
I don't think he did, no. And yeah, it's unfortunate for Javier that now with the Floatstone being on, that he can't put because if he could put on, he has a double colors in his hand. If he could put that on with the Fighting Fury Belt, then that would be the game right there. But you can't do that.
Yeah, and now there is a lot of thinking going on. You need to plan a bit ahead. Only 3 turns left in this game, so checking your discard pile becomes very important. This is a problematic situation because Israel might even be able to take out the Yveltal on Xavier's bench if he doesn't have anything else going on right now. So he needs to consider what makes a lot of sense here, but I think at some point he needs to take a decision anyways if he doesn't want to.
And it's impressive that Israel has taken this game all this way, considering we were saying earlier how Javier was really in a commanding position, but Israel managing to really claw it back very well. And now I guess the onus is just on Israel. Does he have the means to take the win here and now?
Let's see.
So he will need to, well, he'll need free energy.
Yeah, or a Lysander and a double colors energy should be enough, because that's then
120. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or an Escape Rope and a double colors energy card. These are the 2 options, because Xavier didn't have another basic Pokemon to put on his bench. Now the Escape Rope will kind of work like a Lysander in this situation.
Yeah.
Now he sees his discard pile a bit. There is 1 Escape Rope there. Oh no, wait.
Did he? I think I just saw a second one as well.
I didn't manage to see it. So yeah, I think Escape Rope, double colors, and Lysander are the important factors. There are 2 bench Shamans for Israel, so he can play Ultra Ball Shaman. I'm very curious if he has a supporter in his hand, as he just goes for Yveltal with Oblivion Wing.
Yeah, so probably again just thinning out his deck there, because he really just doesn't want to.
Yeah, but also when he has a Darkness energy, he might even just retreat, deal some damage, and then also get an energy in play.
Yeah.
Max Elixir, attaching an energy to his Frightened Yveltal. So for a double colors energy card, now he could just deal 60 damage active, but I think that's a bit risky.
Yeah, and we see that. Yeah, this is exactly what I was expecting. He was. Oh, is there a confusion over there? Oh no. Okay.
He played Professor Sycamore. Like he played versus Seeker, and then it looked like he will play Professor Sycamore. But
right.
while he was just taking cards, he decided to play N instead. Yeah, drawing 3 cards, and he just retreats into the Oblivion Wing Yveltal.
So
Will win him the game.
What does he draw? He has Dark Energy, but that's not enough.
That's a tie. So yeah, 1-1, timeout. They both tied, and now it's really on their tiebreakers how far they finish in terms of championship points. Yeah, that was actually a very intense game. I'm still devastated after the Michael Kremwatt turn 1 knockout again.
Replaying in your mind.
Yeah, exactly. It's just repeating itself over and over again.
Yeah.